There is a man you see every day. He walks through crowded streets with quiet eyes. He carries burdens no one asks about. He endures expectations that crush weaker souls. The modern world tells him to be strong but mocks his strength. It tells him to be vulnerable but punishes his openness. It tells him to provide, protect, and perform, yet offers no mercy when he stumbles. He faces rejection without sympathy. He endures betrayal without justice. He experiences failure without comfort. And through it all, he is expected to stand tall, to never complain, to simply endure. This is the reality of the modern man. A warrior without a war, a protector in a world that no longer honors protection. A soul seeking purpose in an age of distraction and noise. He is misunderstood, emotionally exhausted, and silently bearing weights that would break lesser beings. But here is the truth that changes everything. Life will not get easier. The world will not soften, and the storms will not cease. But you, the man standing in the middle of it all, you can become harder to break. This is not about building bigger muscles or accumulating more wealth. This is not about dominance or conquest. This is about something far more powerful, something the ancient Stoics understood with profound clarity. True strength, the kind that endures through every storm, comes from within. It comes from mastering yourself, from controlling your mind, from building an inner fortress that cannot be shaken by external chaos. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher, emperor who ruled Rome while barbarians hammered at its gates, who lost children to plague and faced betrayal from those closest to him, wrote words that still thunder across the centuries: waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. He didn't theorize about strength. He embodied it. He lived it through unimaginable pain, and he emerged not bitter, but wiser, not broken, but refined. The Stoics were not philosophers who sat in comfortable rooms debating abstract ideas. They were men who walked through hell and came out the other side transformed. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, was exiled to a barren island, stripped of everything he owned, forced to live in isolation while his enemies celebrated his downfall. He could have collapsed into despair. He could have raged against the injustice. Instead, he wrote, he reflected, he strengthened his mind. He returned from exile not weaker, but philosophically invincible. Epictetus was born into slavery, his leg broken by a cruel master, his youth stolen by chains and servitude. Yet he became one of the greatest teachers of mental freedom the world has ever known. How does a slave teach emperors about power? Because he understood that true power has nothing to do with circumstances and everything to do with the mind. Marcus Aurelius himself, the most powerful man in the known world, faced plague, war.
Ow.
He could have used his absolute power to escape into pleasure, to numb the pain, to distract himself from suffering. Instead, he chose to face it, to write about it, to transform it into wisdom. None of these men broke. Why? Because their power came from within, from the unshakable fortress of their minds, from their ability to control their thoughts and emotions even when everything else was chaos. Look around at the modern world, and you will see men breaking easily. A rejection on a dating app sends them into spirals of self-doubt. A setback at work crushes their sense of purpose. Disrespect from a stranger triggers explosive reactions. They are like ships without anchors, tossed violently by every wave at the mercy of external forces they cannot control. They crave validation from others because they have no validation within themselves. They seek approval from a world that will never give it consistently. They react with rage or despair to circumstances they cannot change, exhausting themselves fighting battles that were lost before they began. This is not strength. This is slavery to the external world. The Stoics understood something that modern men have forgotten. You cannot control what happens to you, but you have absolute control over how you respond. That simple truth is the foundation of unbreakability. Imagine a man who loses everything. His business collapses. His relationship ends. His reputation is destroyed by lies he cannot defend against. The world watches him fall, some with pity, others with satisfaction. What does he do? He does not beg for validation. He does not chase approval from people who abandoned him. He does not collapse into self-pity or rage against the universe. He returns to his principles, to his discipline, to his reason. He asks himself, what can I control right now? The answer is simple: his thoughts, his actions, his character. So he focuses there. Every morning he wakes up and chooses to act with integrity even when no one is watching. Every night he reflects on what he could have done better. Every challenge becomes practice. Every loss becomes a lesson. Every rejection becomes redirection toward something better. The world keeps hitting him, but each hit builds a stronger version of who he is. This is the unbreakable man. Not because he feels no pain, but because he has trained himself to remain stable through the pain. You don't control the world. You control your response. That's where your power begins and where it ends. The moment you understand this, truly understand it in your bones, everything changes. The opinions of others lose their grip on you. The chaos of the external world stops determining your internal state. You become like a mountain that storms rage against but cannot move. This is what the Stoics called the dichotomy of control, the separation between what is yours and what is not. Your body can be injured, but your mind remains free. Your reputation can be attacked, but your character is yours alone. Your possessions can be taken, but your principles cannot be stolen unless you surrender them. When you anchor yourself to what you control, you become unmovable. Pain is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Every Stoic understood this with perfect clarity. Seneca wrote that difficulties are what forge character, that gems cannot be polished without friction, and neither can men be perfected without trials. When pain arrives, the weak man asks, "Why me? Why is this happening?" The Stoic asks, "What is this teaching me? How can I grow stronger from this?" He sees adversity not as punishment from an unjust universe, but as training for the soul, as the weights that build mental muscle. It's the fire that burns away weakness and leaves only strength. A man who has never faced hardship has never tested himself. He doesn't know what he's made of. But the man who has walked through fire, who has been rejected and betrayed and defeated and still stood back up, that man knows his own strength. That man has proven to himself that he can endure. And once you know you can endure, nothing can truly break you. Calm is a weapon the world has forgotten. In a society that rewards the loudest voice, the angriest reaction, the most dramatic response, the Stoic man stands out by his silence. He does not need to prove himself through aggression. He does not need to win every argument or dominate every conversation. He observes, he listens, he thinks, and then he acts with precision and purpose. When someone insults him, he does not react with rage. He pauses, considers whether the insult has truth, learns from it if it does, dismisses it if it doesn't, and moves on. His calmness in chaos confuses his enemies. They expect anger. They expect weakness. They expect him to be moved by their provocations. Instead, they find a wall of composure they cannot break through. This is true power. Not the explosive, reactive power of emotion, but the controlled, deliberate power of reason. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." The Stoic man doesn't need revenge. He simply refuses to be dragged down to the level of those who wrong him. Every challenge is a test of your inner fortress. The Stoics imagine the mind as a citadel, an impenetrable fortress that external forces cannot breach unless you open the gates. When adversity comes, when someone betrays you, when life delivers an unexpected blow, the question is not whether the attack will come. It will. The question is whether your fortress will hold. Have you built strong walls through discipline? Have you reinforced your gates through philosophy and reason? Have you trained your guards through meditation and reflection? A fortress that is never tested appears strong, but only when the siege comes do you discover if your preparations were sufficient. Every insult, every setback, every moment of suffering is the universe testing your walls. The weak man's fortress crumbles immediately because it was built on sand. On external validation, on circumstances that shift with the wind. The Stoic's fortress stands because it is built on stone, on principles that do not change, on character that has been forged through repeated trials. the Stoic man masters. 3 pillars that support his unbreakable nature. The first is self-discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done regardless of how he feels. He wakes early not because he wants to, but because he is committed to it. He trains his body not because it's enjoyable, but because discipline in one area of life creates discipline in all areas. He controls his desires instead of being controlled by them. He does not need the newest possession, the next pleasure, the temporary dopamine hit. He finds satisfaction in self-mastery itself. The second pillar is emotional detachment, the ability to observe his emotions without being enslaved by them. He feels anger, but he does not become anger. He experiences fear, but he does not let fear make his decisions. He acknowledges sadness without drowning in it. His emotions are visitors, not masters. He watches them arrive, understands their message, and then lets them pass. The third pillar is moral strength, the unwavering commitment to acting according to his principles, even when it costs him. He tells the truth when lying would be easier. He keeps his word even when circumstances change. He treats others with dignity even when they don't deserve it, not because of who they are, but because of who he is. These 3 pillars, self-discipline, emotional detachment, and moral strength, create a foundation that cannot be shaken. Picture a man walking through a storm. Rain hammers his face, wind tears at his clothes, lightning splits the sky around him. Others run for shelter, screaming in fear, desperately seeking safety from forces they cannot control. But he walks forward with calm eyes, not because the storm doesn't affect him, not because he feels no cold or discomfort, but because he has learned that the storm is external, temporary, and ultimately irrelevant to his core being. His destination remains the same. His purpose is not changed. The storm is simply part of the journey. Now, picture a warrior who has been wounded many times. His body carries scars from battles he barely survived, but each scar is a lesson, each wound a reminder of his resilience. He does not fear being wounded again because he knows he has survived worse. He does not avoid conflict because he knows he can endure it. His confidence does not come from never being hurt, but from knowing he can heal and grow stronger. Now picture a soul that bends but never breaks. Like bamboo in a hurricane, it yields to forces it cannot resist, but its roots hold firm. It does not fight the wind with rigid resistance that would snap it in two. It flows, it adapts, it survives, and when the storm passes, it stands tall once more. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every moment when life seems cruel and unfair is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to reveal what kind of man you truly are. The Stoics saw adversity as a revealer of character, as the fire that shows whether you are gold or merely gold-plated. When everything is easy, when life is comfortable, when success comes without effort, anyone can appear strong. But when the pressure comes, when the stakes are high, when you stand to lose everything, that's when your true nature is exposed. The weak man crumbles and blames the world for his weakness. The strong man stands firm and thanks the world for showing him what he's capable of. Epictetus taught that we should welcome difficulty the way an athlete welcomes tough competition, because it is only through challenging ourselves that we grow. A warrior who only fights easy battles never becomes a great warrior. A man who only faces easy choices never develops great character. The unbreakable man does not need to prove his strength because he embodies it in every action. He doesn't need to tell people he's disciplined because they see it in how he lives. He doesn't need to proclaim his courage because he demonstrates it through his choices. His silence commands more respect than other men's boasts. When he speaks, people listen, not because his voice is loud, because his words carry weight, earned through lived experience. His consistency outlasts chaos. While others panic and make rash decisions, he remains steady, committed to his principles. Unmoved by temporary circumstances, years pass, and he is still there, still working, still growing, still becoming. Others have given up, have been seduced by comfort, have abandoned their principles for convenience. But not him. He made promises to himself, and he keeps them. This consistency, this reliability, this unshakable commitment to his path, makes him a man others instinctively trust and respect. His calmness confuses his enemies. They cannot manipulate him with anger, because he does not react with anger. They cannot hurt him with insults, because his self-worth is not determined by their opinions. They cannot shake him with threats, because he has already accepted the worst possible outcomes and made peace with them. The Stoics practiced a meditation called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They imagined losing everything, facing their worst fears, experiencing their greatest dreads. Not to be morbid or pessimistic, but to prepare their minds, to realize that even the worst outcome is survivable. To understand that nothing external can truly destroy their inner citadel. A man who is mentally prepared for loss cannot be controlled by the fear of loss. A man who has accepted death as inevitable cannot be threatened with death. This is why the Stoic man appears so calm in situations that would terrify others. He has already walked through his fears in his mind and discovered they are not as powerful as he once believed. He becomes the kind of man the world cannot shake because his foundation is not external. It is not built on money that can be lost, relationships that can end, status that can be destroyed, or physical strength that will inevitably fade. His foundation is philosophical, rooted in timeless principles that do not change with circumstances. It is disciplined, maintained through daily practice and constant vigilance. It is deeply moral, aligned with virtue and character rather than pleasure and comfort. This foundation can support him through any storm because it does not depend on fair weather to remain strong. One day, life will test you. Not maybe. Not if you're unlucky. One day, with absolute certainty, life will test you. It will take from you something you love. It will betray you through someone you trusted. It will break what you thought was unbreakable. That day will come. You cannot prevent it. You cannot hide from it. You can only prepare for it. When that day arrives, when you stand in the ruins of what you've built, when you face the darkness of loss and pain, remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. A Stoic man doesn't run from pain. He doesn't numb himself with distractions or drown himself in vices. He absorbs the pain, fully experiences it, learns from it, and rises stronger. Every hit makes him harder. Every loss makes him wiser. Every betrayal makes him more discerning. He transforms suffering into strength, adversity into advantage, pain into purpose. Be that man. Be the man who stands when others fall. Be the man who remains calm when others panic. Be the man whose principles do not shift with circumstances. Be unshaken by chaos, unbroken by adversity, untouchable in your inner fortress. This is the Stoic way. This is how you become unbreakable.